to another episode of Town Square Kung Fu. I am your host, Frankie Balboa, aka the Shogun Supreme.
And I'm Peter Glugowski, Associate Editor at Flixus.com. Today we're going to be talking about the wonderful sort of V-cinema joint, the Glorious Asuka Gang.
Yeah! And this is, I'm excited that this is actually coming out in Blu-ray in a box set by Spectrum Films, man. And this is good. This is good for films in general, man, because V-cinema, well, this is not V-cinema, but Japanese films from this period is usually overlooked. So yeah, we're gonna get into it, man, because I love this film, and Peter loves it too. All right, let's get into it.
So Asuka is the main character here and drives most of the plot, but she's rolling with this girl named Miko. And later on in the movie, we learn Miko has some kind of connection to Yoko, who's another girl that Asuka meets pretty early in the film. And there's like a maybe undercover or double agent kind of vibe from her. And as the plot progresses, you know, we get to learn more about how they're trying to take down what's called the Red Nose Gang, which wears actual red noses. Yeah. And they're dealing with drugs that come in this red capsule, and then you just snort it. At the same time, there's some kingpin lady who doesn't speak, and she wants Asuka killed so that they're not disrupting the drug chain. I mean, it gets a little muddied, but the film's more about the interpersonal relationship between Asuka, Miko, and Yoko.
Right. And what's interesting about this film, and I can mention this to you a lot, is this film, the art direction looks very similar to the animated film Akira.
Yeah, I mean, when we were done watching it, even to me, I mean, Akira is an obvious reference, but there's some Fist of the North Star in there as well, because it's a very dystopian setting, and things are in ruin, people are living on the streets, or just complete drug addicts.
Yeah, but even with her Molotov grenade, it's like this oval shaped one, very similar to what you see in the bike scene in Akira.
Yeah.
The weapons, the way she looks, and
the way she looks, absolutely.
Yeah, and of course the Red Pearl. That's the name of the drug here. The capsule pill, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, all that was missing was the motorcycle in this film, you know?
Surprisingly, there were no vehicles. Oh, actually, that's not entirely true, but regardless, she didn't drive one.
But yeah, the art direction and the Rolling Stones, which you're going to hear a lot through this film.
Yeah, we get Satisfaction in there, and there's even some reprises of it.
Right, and you know, the overall score is this bluesy, jazzy sound that fits so well into this world. But the action. What do you think of the action when we saw this joint?
As I think you said it to me beforehand, like, it's not overly choreographed, and that's absolutely true. I know we said the same thing for Bad City as well, but this one is very raw and gritty, almost visceral. No one comes off like they know what the heck they're doing. Asuka goes out there and she's swinging arms like a maniac because she relies more on her gadgets. That's what her gimmick is.
Yeah, the gadgets in this, like the way she uses stuff, that's her strength. But as fighting, you could tell nobody's a skilled fighter here, and they just swinging for the fences. But man, it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, mixed with that atmosphere too. I mean, there's this one scene where she's escaping and Yoko kind of helps her. Like, there's trash all over the place, and they're kicking, things are flying through the air. Like, you get immersed into it because of the way the set design is.
Yeah, and speaking about the set design, is that you was blown away. You was like, yo, this was direct to video. The budget looks huge, but as the film progressed, you realize it was nice camera angles of the same location.
Yeah.
And they really maximized the budget because this film was a looker.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
There's one spot where you see like train tracks and there's a central hub, I guess. They film it from one side, and then later in the movie, it's from the other side. If you're paying attention, you'll notice, but it's made up completely differently. Like, you're seeing this side of the street versus that side, and it almost looks like a completely different area.
Yeah, it was definitely well done. Like, you see like two other different locations. I say four in total, but it's definitely well done. Everything feels alive and active. There's like so many extras in these shots.
Yeah, it's a very dense film in that sense because of the way the area feels. I mean, I know it's set in Shinjuku, Japan, so that's kind of a bustling city anyway, but this is like the city on ruin, and it still has tons of pedestrians and extras, like you said, and it's just, it adds that extra level of gravity and atmosphere to reuse that descriptor.
Right, and man, you're gonna see a lot of steam in this film, man. You know. But overall, what do you thought of this film?
So we mentioned all of the set design and the atmosphere and whatever. Like, that's all really great stuff. But the performance by lead actor Miho Sumuki is just, it's great. It anchors the film. You know, it's all believable. No one feels like they're big shots or anything. Like, this is a very gritty, down-to-earth kind of film. But what does it for me is mostly that set design and the action, because if you kind of focus on the story a bit, it kind of gets muddied. I wouldn't say the film is bad in that regard. It's just that there's a lot of twists and turns, and by the end you're just like, oh my god, just shut up and get to it, like, please. At least the finale caps the movie off in a really glorious fashion. It's almost a like Texas standoff.
Yeah, no, I really love this film a lot, and I agree with you with the most part, because I remember when the film ended, there was one particular actor in it. He was one of the gangs, the one who kept saying Asuka. Asuka.
He must have said her name about 17 times in one scene.
Oh my god, he was amazing. He was so overdramatic. For me, he was far the most interesting one out of that whole, you know, side actors. And they sort of try to make him a big deal, but his presence wasn't as much, which I found odd.
Yeah, he wasn't really a strong presence in the film, and then his ultimate fate sort of just like caps it off, and you're like, all right.
He was a big deal, I guess, you know. But
even the end of the film itself, I will say, is a little just like, and then it was over. You know, that just kind of, it doesn't end with much pomp and circumstance.
It was, hey man, another day, man, and freaking.
Yeah, I wonder if that was the tone too that they wanted. But regardless, you know, those are just some nitpicks.
But overall, I never lost focus watching this film, because even with the mess going on, the main villain, the lady without the voice, found it to be quite fascinating. I want to see what is her deal.
Yeah.
And they do a great job with that, and also it's amazing how far set design could take you on the experience of a film, especially the soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, people get hung up a lot on plot, and I know I tend to do it sometimes as well, but movies are a visual medium first and foremost, so if the visuals can engross you enough that you're still paying attention despite how everything's incoherent, you know, that's good. And I wouldn't say this movie's incoherent, it's a lot to take in. So, you know, watch it multiple times maybe, or just accept that there's a greater vibe going on here than just here's story, here's the characters, here's how everything fits together.
Yeah, I think it's one of these films that gets better over time, because once you know the little nuances of the plot and the twist happening, it becomes a more streamlined experience, you know?
Yeah,
but overall, I'm happy this is coming out from Spectrum Films on a box set, and the artwork is done by Black Cherry. I'm gonna post a picture while I'm talking, and hopefully we get more V Cinema joints, because like I told you, man, they come through with the vibes and the grit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would even like to see this in 4K with some HDR, but regardless, I'm sure a proper restoration would really make that set design and costume and art direction and everything shine.
Absolutely. I mean, hopefully, I think, you know, once these guys like 88, Eureka, all these labels get off the Hong Kong bandwagon, especially Shop Factory that's releasing everything.
4,000 Shaw Brothers sets in a month.
Jesus Christ, man. You know, hopefully they come in, especially, I love Eureka, the way they do their transfers. and 88 as well. Everybody's doing their thing, man. So there you guys have it, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a blast watching it. Peter,
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I think it'll grow on me over time, but even after that first watch, like it's an intriguing film.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Guys, as always, like, share, and subscribe, and until the next one, peace.